All right, welcome back to another episode of the Rough Rigs SuperCoach podcast. Now, a little bit of a, mishap today. No camera. We're a little bit low on time. There's been a few, you call them logistical nightmares. Basically, Mitch is out on the beers, and look, fair enough to him. But yeah, I'm here. There's no camera. There's no microphone, so the microphone quality may be a little bit poor. But on the plus side, you don't have to deal with my head in the way. So, swings and roundabouts, I guess. But the good news is, for me personally, I scored 1,373, so another solid week for me. That puts me into rank 180. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with how my season started, obviously. Can't complain too much. Pretty happy with where I'm sitting, I think. I'm happy with my team. I'm happy with the cheapies that I've got. There's a couple that I'll need to bring in this week. But yeah, let's get into it. I'll show you through my team at the moment. So this is obviously pre-trade. So Harry Grant, he did really well for me. 108. He's just, super solid. He's kind of really emerging. Well, not emerging, but he's quickly, becoming a must-have. I think there were, a few different routes that you could have taken early on in the season. There was Marnie if you wanted to go cheap. But he's really just standing up against the pack, really, and just being the superior option here. Yes, there's Brayley, and Brayley's doing fine, but yeah, the way Grant's going and the way the six again is being refereed at the moment, that's just making the ruck so fast. And with a fast ruck, there's probably no better exponent than Harry Grant. So he's really just developing there. He's got a break even of -11, so he's going to make money at 606k. He's well and truly undervalued. So if you didn't start with him, now's probably the time to jump on if you can. But we'll get to all the trades and where the best options are for the week, and we'll get into that in a second. I'll go through my team first. Payne Haas, 103, just doing Payne Haas things. Probably could have got a bit more, to be honest. He looked super solid against Parramatta. May, 78 points. Pretty happy with him. His minutes are a little bit of a concern. Obviously, we were really expecting him to play the minutes he did last year. It was just insane, the 70 minutes that he played plus last year. But 53 minutes, I was thinking more around the 60-minute mark that he would be getting. So maybe it's just kind of first week back. They had that game kind of sewn up in the end. And he's obviously coming off a little bit of a back injury. So maybe he was just kind of getting eased into it. So hopefully, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, he starts kind of picking up those minutes and heads more towards the 60 to 65-minute mark, which would be nice. But still, that's tremendous output. 78 points in 53 minutes. I think he's someone that's really going to benefit as well for the offloads. Had 4 offloads in this game. So, with the change of the definition around offloads is just basically they've just got to throw it and someone's got to catch it. Rather than being successful as such, or whether it's being, productive in the set, whether they're making meters on it. None of that matters anymore. It's just literally has it gone to hand or not. So he's a big beneficiary from that. Mooney got 64 points. He's just doing good things at 442k. I'm very happy with him. Paseka, 48 points in a game where Manly looked absolutely awful. I will take that. Not too thrilled with 48, obviously, but yeah, it's certainly not the end of the world. Angus Crichton, 53. Look, not too happy with that. He's got 54 last week with a try, so it's good to see his base up a little bit more this week. That's kind of what I'm more impressed with. But he's certainly someone that I am looking to sell this week. I'm not sure if I will or not. The thing with him is I don't really like him this week against Penrith, but then the following week against the Manly Seagulls, I kind of want to play him then, considering what the Seagulls threw up last week. It was not pretty. And yeah, if there's any game that Crichton could score a couple of tries and go 100 plus, I think it could be against the Seagulls next week. So it's one to consider for me whether I hold or sell him. But David Fifita, 67 points. I actually put the captaincy on him. I spoke about it last week and I did follow through with it. Yeah, kind of stuffed up, to be honest, because I was out Thursday night having a few drinks and forgot to basically change my vice captain around. I left it on Ponga instead of moving it to Payne Haas, who was on the Thursday night, which was what I was planning on doing. Worked out okay. I probably would have looped Haas's score, but so be it. So yeah, ended up kind of just captaining Fifita and just hoping for the best, which he did all right. Looked solid. Looked damaging. Probably could have scored a few more tries, but just things didn't quite go his way. But yeah, 67 points. I think there was a line break in there. But that's kind of all there was really in terms of major attacking stats. There was no tries, no try assists. So promising signs for Fifita. He's definitely a super solid option. He's looking like, with tremendous upside, as we all know. Lukey, 57, all in base, no attacking stats from him. So, 57, played the 80 minutes again, which was nice to see, just as kind of that confirmation that he is an 80-minute edge, or he is an 80-minute back rower now. So, that's certainly nice to have that confirmation. Isaiah Yeo, 63 points, did come off for Cogger again. So, he's come out recently in an interview after that game. He was actually asked whether that's the plan going forward to play limited minutes or whether he's going to kind of go back to 80 minutes. And he pretty much all but confirmed that that's the plan now for the rest of the season. So, yeah, you're looking at a kind of a 60 to 65-minute guy from Isaiah Yeo, which is not what you bought him for. So he's on the chopping block for me. I don't really like his role anymore. I liked it as an 80-minute role. That's why we all bought him. A 65-minute role coming off the bench, with no upside, I'm not a big fan of. Yes, he's going to be a kind of a safe, maybe 55 to 60 points every week, but I'm not that thrilled. It's not an urgent trade because Cogger's out with that HIA this week, so maybe this week he does end up playing bigger minutes. Maybe he does get to that 80-minute mark, but I mean, if that's their plan to not play him 80 minutes and kind of preserve him and make him more effective for that 65-minute period and have someone on for 15 minutes against tired forwards, I can't see that changing, to be honest. I think they've got Freddie Lussick in the 14 jersey this week, and I think he'll play a similar role. I think he'll just, as to what Cogger was doing. So I think Yo's minutes don't really change too much this week, in all honesty. Lasati, 77, he's just could be a genuine keeper if he can hold his spot. Obviously, Sean Bloor is coming back. He got injured in New South Wales Cup last week, but it's not too bad. I think he might be playing this week, or else he's back to New South Wales Cup the following week. Whether Lasati holds his spot, I'm not sure. I think he probably would. If it was up to me, I would hold him in that team. I think he's a better player than Sean Bloor. I think Melbourne looked better with Lasati in the team playing on that edge. So I'm relatively confident that he holds his spot. I think with the off-field drama, I guess, around Sean Bloor as well, not getting into that too much, but there's that, and there's also the fact that there's been reports that he wants to go back to Sydney. He doesn't want to stay at the Storm. He doesn't want to be in Melbourne anymore. So, the Melbourne Storm is Craig Bellamy the type of guy that's going to invest in someone that doesn't want to be there? I don't think so. I think he's much rather would invest in Lasati, and he's spoken quite highly of him. Munster's spoken quite highly of wanting him on his outside. So, I'm not insanely confident that he holds the spot, but I would lean that way if it was, if I was a betting man, which, I am. Let's face it. Howe, 55 points for him. very nice. I think he's just going to be a solid 50 to 55 point player every week with upside. I think he's got that attacking upside, to be honest. He looks like that kind of guy. He looks like he could break the line. He looks like he could score a try. So, yeah, I haven't played him yet, but if I had to, if you had a few people out in the buy and I had to play him, I certainly wouldn't be upset about it. Nathan Cleary, 109, just doing Nathan Cleary things. That's what we bought him for. We know he's the best halfback in the comp. We know he's, one of the best SuperCoach players in the game. So, yeah, 109 points with a try, which was pretty lucky, to be honest. But even without that, he's still looking at a 70 to 80 point game, which is pretty good. Sanders, 39 points for him. So disappointing if you went Atkinson to Sanders last week. I definitely advised against doing that. I thought it was a little bit sideways, a little bit of a waste. I thought, as you got Atkinson for a reason over Sanders. It was very kind of sudden to make that trade straight away. So you get that extra week of data and you realise Sanders isn't going to punch out 90 every week, and Atkinson's a fairly good player, a fairly solid player who's going to punch out, decent scores on occasion. So, yeah, I'm still happy with 39. I'm still happy with Sanders. I'm not, I'm glad that I have Sanders over Atkinson, I think. But either way, neither of them are going to be keepers. Neither of them are going to be in your team long term. So personally, I don't think it really makes too much of a difference which one you have. Sanders, I'm probably feeling a little bit more confident to play if I had to. But ideally, you don't want to be playing either of them. So Cody Walker, 34 points, a bit of a back to reality for him. This is Cody Walker. This is what he does. He's going to punch out hundreds. He's going to punch out 30s. If you got him, you should have been well aware that that's what he does. Yeah, don't panic about the 34 and don't overreact about the hundreds. Like, that's just what he's going to do. At the end of the day, come end of the season, he's probably not in your best team. He might be someone that you're playing on matchups, but he's certainly not someone that you want to play every week. This week, the Bunnies have the Tigers, so I'm pretty confident playing him this week. But, let's say he was to be facing Melbourne or facing Penrith, then I'd be kind of trying to look elsewhere. Look at my team at the moment, I would play him because I have to, but yeah, he's just kind of one of those guys that I'm still very happy I've got. I think he'll make a bit of money. I think he'll be a decent play most weeks, but there's certainly going to be weeks that he goes 35 and under. So Pezzett got 82, doing a lot. Like, he scored, 4 tries, assists, scored a try, was in absolutely everything. And, yeah, still only got 82 points. So, very, very little base. He's going to make a little bit of money, you would think, with a negative 25 break even, but he's certainly someone that I want to try and get up to Flesh is Sharp, I think, is the plan as soon as possible. Latrell Mitchell, 84 points for him. He's just, again, someone with very, very little base. There's going to be a score of 20 somewhere for Latrell. I can sense it. I don't think it'll be this week, to be honest, up against the Tigers, against an edge that is Skelton, playing in the centres, and Taruva, not noted for his defence. So he could really tear up against that edge. I think there's going to be plenty of more attack for him this week. But yeah, again, similar to Cody Walker, he's going to have games where he doesn't get the attack and he's going to get games where he scores poorly. Greg Marju, a little bit concerned about his scores. 56 points, looked unreal in probably the first 10 minutes, scored a try. He was on 50 points, within probably 10 minutes, and then just got nothing. Seen no ball. Obviously with Dylan Brown and Ponga both going off, for some reason, they just wanted to go right all the time. They kept going to Dom Young's side, and Greg Marju barely touched the ball. So, I'm hoping that was kind of more of just the way the game panned out because of Ponga's injury after 20-odd minutes, so they kind of stopped going left because obviously Ponga likes that left-hand side. He likes, that combination he's got with Bradman Best and Marju down the left is phenomenal. So he's a little bit concerning now with Ponga out, but hopefully Fletcher Sharp can kind of, I guess, pick up where he left off and help him out there, because Fletcher Sharp will be playing. Well, he'll be playing in the 6 and he'll be playing on that left-hand side, I believe. So that could help Marju. Makasini, 48, just all in base, was sensational. Didn't have to do anything special, but he just looked busy. He just got a work rate. He makes his runs. He'll get a couple of tackle busts, and those attacking stats will come. We know what he can do. We've seen it in the trials. So that attack's going to come. Tommy Chester, 74 points. Did score that try, but even without it, he's got a pretty solid base. Probably not the base and the work rate that we've seen over in Vegas, but still probably gets 40-ish points, maybe a little bit more, 45 points in base. So pretty happy with that. Farmani, 44 points for him. Can't complain. Without a try assist, very happy with that. Had that work rate that we didn't quite see the week before, but we've seen it this week. Setu 2, 27 points. Look, I think Setu 2's got to be that kind of player, but with Dragons draw coming up, they're probably going to get a fair bit of attack down his side, I would imagine. But yeah, we'll wait and see. All he's got to do, he'll get a game where he jag a couple of tries, make a fair bit of money fairly quickly, and then we can move him on to one of those gun centres. I think we're going to have a lot of cash very quickly that you can kind of almost just straight go Setu 2 up to like a really gun Karaz or a Val Holmes or someone of that calibre. Sua far longer, 155 for him. Sensational effort. He's got a very, very low break-even of negative 110. So he's going to make a massive amount of money very, very quickly. Again, this is what Sua does, right? Like, he's another one of those, I guess, Cody Walker kind of players who can get 30s or he can get 150s, as we've seen. Like, he scored most of those points inside the last probably 15 minutes. If the game went for 60 minutes, he was probably on 30 points. So when you're trading him in, like a lot of people are this week, just don't expect 155 every week. Like, there's going to be 30s for him, and they could come this week up against Brisbane. I expect Brisbane, as terrible defensively as they have been, I expect a bit of a bounce back from them this week, and I think they'll be much better. Madge will be giving it to him in training and really working him over. So I think this is the week that the Broncos really step up and get that defence right, and Falongo might have a quiet one potentially. I'm still obviously recommend trading him in if you can, with that break even and with that potential that he has. But yeah, just don't expect him to come in this week and score another 155, because chances are probably not. Keanu Kinney, 56, doing really not much at all. So I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. Like, his work rate's there. The attack will come. Like, the Titans can score points. We know that. They have barely scored a point the last 2 weeks. Against the Dolphins, I thought they'd be a lot better, but geez, they were awful. That was a horrible game to watch. Both teams were just dreadful. But yeah, 56 from Kinney. It's certainly not panic stations yet. And Jaden Campbell is back this week, so good to see. And Ponga, 54 points in that first kind of 25 minutes before he went injured. So a lot of people brought in Ponga, which would have hurt if you went like drink water to Ponga. Now, obviously, he's injured. You've got to go Ponga to someone else. So, yeah, tough one to swallow for those Ponga owners. Especially if you brought him in this week. Okay, now we will touch on. I won't go through team list just because it's late. We're past midnight. As I said earlier, we've had some logistical challenges, but we're pushing through them. But yeah, we'll cut the team list. If you want to look, go and look yourself. But there's not really anything too major. The biggest one's probably Fletcher Sharp coming back, so we'll touch on him. And Jaden Campbell, he's back as well. Everything else, is pretty good. Lasardi holds his spot. There's no Joe Chan holds his spot. There's no Sean Bloor to be seen. Obviously Ponga's out, Brown's out. Chester holds his spot is probably the other major one, with Laybut also being named. Now, there's also talk of, I don't think this has been confirmed as of yet. We are currently midnight on Thursday. So we've just ticked over to the Thursday, Wednesday night, essentially. But there's been no word yet, or no confirmation yet, whether Drinkwater is out. There's talk about him being rested. And that will mean Purdue goes to fullback, which I think is very good for Purdue owners. And then, Laybut will come in for him. So Laybut has been named, but it's not at the expense of Chester. So basically Chester is originally named over Laybut, so I think Chester has earned that spot on merit. But in saying that, Laybut could come out this week, absolutely kill it, and Chester could be out in a week. So we shall wait and see. What I will do is let's go through the best cheapies to get, and I'll kind of go through the top ones quite quickly, and we'll search by break evens. So I'll just go through break evens. I'll go kind of through the top. Let's go 12. So Sua Farlongo, minus 110 break, and we spoke about him. I think if you don't have him, you probably have to bring him in, really. He's just going to make a heap of money. He's got the potential to score huge. He's a genuine vice-captain or captain option. I probably would be reluctant to captain him, but he's definitely a good vice-captain option. But again, as we spoke about, just calm those expectations a little. Don't expect 155 from him. There are going to be 30s from him, but there are going to be these big scores as well. So Noah Martin, negative 103 break even. I think you've got to get him. I don't have him. I'm bringing him in this week without a doubt. He's averaging massive numbers in base, around 60 points in base plus. Plus, he's got huge attacking upside. We've seen that in the first game where he scored 2 tries. But 48 tackles and 51 tackles, it's just insane. So, plus, he's going to get at least 10 points in runs. He's got the odd tackle break. Yet to throw an offload. So, once the offloads start coming, there's just even more points. The draws, okay. Bulldogs, Sharks, Newcastle, Souths. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's just kind of, middle of the range, I suppose. His job security looks decent. Again, Sasungi is named in the centres and Timoko is on the bench. So it seems to me as if Sasungi is just kind of the preferred centre at the moment. And Timoko is just kind of, can't break it into the squad. So I think on that front, Noah Martin's pretty safe by the looks of things. 250k. He's basically doing in base what Isaiah Yeo is doing, but he's a hell of a lot cheaper. He's 400k cheaper, just about, and there's a lot more upside. There's no upside in Yeo. Yeo's not going to score 2 tries a game. He's not going to get those line breaks. He's not going to get that many tackle busts. Whereas Noah Martin, he looks like he's got that attack in him. He's shown that he's got that attack in him. just you've got to get him. I think I can't see a world where you would. I can't see a reason not to get him, to be honest. And if that means getting rid of someone like a Yo, if that means getting rid of someone like an Angus Crichton, then so be it. If that means getting rid of someone like a Cooper Bye, who scored really well last week and has a negative break even, I would do that in a heartbeat. If you're a Bye owner, Bye to Martin is a very, very good trade. Lasati, negative 80 break even. Obviously, we spoke about the Sean Blaw thing. I think Lasati holds his spot over Sean Blaw for a while. Even if he doesn't, I still think he's a great trade, because you can play him every week. Like, he is a genuine keeper with the scores that he's doing. 70 points in base is unreal. I've played him the first 2 weeks. I'll play him this week without any fear at all. If he's going to churn out 70 points in base with attacking upside, like he's playing outside Munster, those tries are going to come, and he looks dangerous. Like, when he runs the ball, he looks like he's going to break the line. He looks like he's going to score tries. He's a big boy. He can, I just really like him. I really do. I started with him. I was confident starting with him, just purely based on what I thought of him as a player. And I just kind of backed that would be enough to hold him into the side. It looks like that's the way it's going. I think if you don't have him, it's time to jump on. And at the end of the day, in 2 weeks' time, Sean Blaw's back and he's out of the side, or he won't be out of the side completely. He'll be out of the starting side. He'll go back to the bench. He'll still make some money. Worst case scenario, he makes probably 200K, really. And you have a genuine keeper for the next 2 weeks. That's the absolute worst that can happen, I think. I mean, unless he gets injured or something. But Moses Leos, negative 69 break even. This one's an interesting one. I don't have him. I don't think I'm going to get him. He's going to make plenty of money. But 95 and 48. That 48, I don't know how he got that many. He was on about 20, I think. But then got that try assist that try in literally like the last play of the game. So he doesn't really have the base that I thought he might. 17, like there's 20 points in base. So Broncos this week. Then he's got the Cowboys, which is a great matchup, and then Panthers. So, a bit of Cowboys, Panthers, Warriors, Canberra. It's an okay run, not a great run. Some good games, some bad games in there. I'm not going him because I don't want to play him at the end of the day. The other two, the Noah Martin, Lasardi, I'm very happy to play them each week. I think they've got the potential to be keepers. Moses Leo, I don't think does. If you're bringing him in, it's purely for cash, and I think I'm going to make enough cash elsewhere that I don't need him. And to get him in, I'm going to have to trade out someone that I want in my team. I'm very happy with my team, I guess. It depends on where you are with your team. If you're not happy, if there's someone in your centre wings that you really don't like and you can go to Leo for a couple of weeks and make a couple of 100K, then sure, go for it. But in the position that I'm in, I'm very happy to fade Leo, not go him, because I don't want to trade out someone that I'm happy with. Like, that doesn't make much sense to me. With all the options that we have, like if this was another year where there was no great cheapies and Moses Leo was kind of one of the few, there was only another one or two other options, then sure, I'd jump on him because, you got to get that cash generation. But this year, there's so many other places you can get it that you don't need to get them all. Tommy Chester, negative 68. He's probably, I've got him and I'm very happy. He's got the floor. He's someone that I probably would not go for if I didn't have him, just because of his job security. I know he got named for Labour this week, but Todd Payten is fighting for his career, and he has made mass changes in the past when the Cowboys lose a couple of games in a row. He's not afraid to swing the axe. He's done that many of times, and Tom Chester could get caught up in Todd Payten fighting for his job, really. And who knows, he might get taken out, Labour might get in. You just don't know. He's a great option. He's negative 68. We talked about he's got pretty good floor. I much prefer Tom Chester as a play in my team over Moses Leo. So if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather get Tom Chester in than Leo. If you wanted to get one of them in this week. But yeah, there's enough question marks for Tom Chester for mine to kind of hold off on him. Ryan Couchman, I'm still kind of umming and ahhing what to do with him. Negative 65 break even. He has posted ridiculous numbers in base. His PPM is just through the roof. 56 minutes and 57 minutes with a 70 and a 69. If that's what he's going to produce every week, then he is a must-have. I am not convinced that that's what he's going to do every week. And I'm thinking I might wait. As good as that break-even is, as good as his first 2 weeks are, as good as the minutes have been, I'm just not 100% convinced with that, whether that will maintain. Now, first one over in Vegas was a game that went for 90 minutes. It was a game that the winger went off from the Dragons, so therefore they had one less forward in that interchange rotation. So he played extended minutes there. Then against Melbourne, the other Couchman, Toby Couchman, he had a little bit of an injury. So whether that inflated his minutes there, I think it did. Now this week, you've got Little into the team. I think, based on last year, Little will play hooker and Damien Cook will play that lock role. So where is Couchman going to get his minutes from? I cannot see him playing any more than 50 minutes at absolute most. Is that enough to justify bringing him in? It probably is, to be honest, because in that time he's still going to score you 55 points at least. I don't know. He's someone that I could bring in and I wouldn't feel 100% confident in playing him. So I definitely have Lasardi. I definitely have Noah Martin over him. But yeah, he's certainly a good option if you're sold on him. Do it. If you've got him, you're absolutely cheering. I'm just not sure on his minutes. And look, you could definitely make the argument that, well, it's worth it anyway, because the worst case scenario, as we spoke about Lasardi, he's still going to make 150k. And you've got someone on your bench that you can play in an emergency that's still going to probably get you 50 points. How is that any different to someone like an Arama Howe who is going to get you 50 points? It's probably not too much different. But again, there's just so many options. There's so many cheapies this year. You can't get them all. And for me to get him in, it's not so much me about getting him in. It's who I have to sell. And for me to get him in, I'm probably selling someone like an Angus Crichton, which I'm not opposed to. But as we spoke about, he's got Manly coming up in a couple of weeks. I do still have faith that Angus is going to turn around. I still like the reasoning of why I brought him in, which is because I had faith that the Roosters were going to go better. I thought him and Cherry Evans or him and Sam Walker were going to kind of get it together. And that combination will only improve, and it's only going to improve as weeks go on. I think Cherry Evans is going to be up for a huge game against Manly, and I think the Roosters are all going to kind of dig in for it. Yeah, I think I'm going to let Ryan Couchman go. And look, what I can do, is Ryan Couchman can play this week, even if he makes 100K. But, if he plays and there's no injuries and it all kind of goes according to plan for the Dragons, and he still punches out 55 minutes and scores 70 points, then I'll happily pay 330 instead of 230 for him. But at least I have that assurance that I know that I can bring him in and I can play him and he's going to be a great option moving forward. So I think that's what I do. Yes, it's going to cost me 100K, but it's going to give me that insurance that I'm not trading out someone like an Angus, someone that I see that could be a genuine gun for someone that might not be. And I know we're early on in the season and normally it's all about making as much money as possible as quickly as you can. But I think this year is different. I think this year you're going to make money no matter what. I think every player is making money just about. There's not too many people in your side that's going to have a really big break-even. They've all got quite low break-evens. They're all going to make money. Even without Ryan Couchman, without Moses Leo, I've still got 5 or 6 really good cheapies in my side that I'm more than happy with. So, yeah. And it allows me to do something I'll talk about my trades and my trade plans in a moment, but it allows me to do something that, I probably wouldn't expect to be doing this time of the year. Ethan Sanders, negative 55 break even. I don't think he's someone that you'd bring in if you started with, let's say, 2 gun halfback options. I think you're pretty happy with the way you went there. You can afford to miss out. Again, it comes back to you don't need to get all the cheapies. Ethan Sanders probably, not one of the best ones. He could be. He's probably got one of the ones with the better upsides, but his base is still, fairly low. I'm happy that I've got him, but I wouldn't be racing out to buy him. Same with Atkinson. You could probably throw them both in the same boat. You wouldn't trade one for the other. You've just kind of, whatever one you've got, stick with them for a few weeks. They'll make some money, and then you can get off them. Trade them up to that gun half that you want. Whether that's Cleary, whether that's Hines, whether that's an Adam Dewey. Fini Fuiaki, negative 42 break even. I'm a big fan of Fini Fuiaki. I have been for a while. I do like his work. And he's been playing 80 minutes. That's the big thing for me. Normally he's a kind of a 60 to 65 minute player. 80 minutes with tries in both games, I must admit. So that obviously bumps up. But his runs, he's making a sensational amount of runs. 30 points in runs last week, 24 points the week before. They're insane numbers. They are insane numbers. The base is there. The base is, 50, 55. It's certainly, 55 to 60 points in base. It's pretty good. He's 451. He's basically Lukey. He's basically him and Lukey. You could pick either of him. Fini Fuiaki's a bit more potty. That's about it. They're similar price. They're going to do similar things. They're both similar type players. They're high upside players. They've got good attack in them. maybe there's a little question mark on his job security, whether those minutes keep up. He's never been someone that plays 80 minutes consistently throughout a whole season. So there's doubts, I guess, whether that is to continue, but I don't know. I quite like it. I quite like him as an option. I can't do it because there's just so many good second row options. But yeah, if you've missed the boat or you've completely stuffed up your second row somewhere, he's certainly someone that you could definitely look at. So, yeah, very nice little pod there. And someone we could be speaking about in 3 or 4 weeks, and he's averaging 60 in base and, averaging 90 overall because he keeps scoring these tries, and he's 700k. And you're thinking, why didn't we get him? So he could definitely be one of those players. Tanner Boyd, -41, 574k. I wouldn't be going for him. I think if he can get up to a Cleary, I know he's a fair bit more expensive, but I'd rather Cleary, I'd rather I'd rather Hines, I'd rather Dewey over Tanner Boyd. I just don't think Tanner Boyd, he's got the goal kicking at the moment, but I don't like it. Tanner Boyd's he's just never been that player. He's never been that SuperCoach gun. Yes, he's scored well, but he's been doing everything. He's been so involved, and I just can't see that continuing going forward. I mean, the next 2 weeks, Newcastle and the Tigers, maybe you could. Does the goal kicking continue? Probably not. I don't know. I guess it does. Metcalf, how long's he out for? He's going to come back in, midway through the season, so he's probably not that much of a consideration to Tanner Boyd's job security. He's probably got that spot locked in for a while. Yeah. Look, you could do worse. Like, the numbers are good. He's 20 points in tackles, couple of runs. You're looking at a base of 25. You throw in the goal kicking, you're looking at 35 as a floor. But I just rather the other ones that have proven it for season upon season. And then if you want to go a bit more potty, you've got Dewey, who I just like the look of him better. I think he's taken full control of that Tigers team. I think he scores more points in more areas. He's got the goal kicking as well. He runs the ball probably more than Tanner Boyd. That's my thoughts on Tanner. Joe Chan, -40, break even. Not for me. I've already kind of the last couple of episodes really given my thoughts on Joe Chan. I don't really like him. He doesn't excite me. He just doesn't do it for me. I don't really want him in my team. I never really thought about putting him in my team too hard. I don't know. And look, for what it's worth, there's no, I guess, guarantee that he keeps his spot if Sean Bloor comes back. Like, maybe it's Lasardi that moves to Joe Chan's spot because they prefer Joe Chan, or they prefer Lasardi, or does Sean Bloor come on the right and take Bloor's spot? Like, there's so many options in the second row, especially, that I think you can afford to not go Joe Chan. He's 309k, so he's a little bit more than that bottom dollar, and he doesn't quite have the floor of someone like Lasardi, who's getting 70 points in base. Your Joe Chan's getting 45 in base, which is still solid, but not, something that exciting. And he only played 70 minutes last week, which is interesting. So is that a sign of things to come? I don't know. And Arama Hayal, we will talk about -38. I think he's a really good option. I think he's a really safe option. He's someone, as we've spoken about, that's going to get you 50 points on at worst. And there's attack there. So if you don't have Howe, I wouldn't mind him. I think I'd prefer him over a Joe Chan. I'd prefer him probably over I'd still prefer a Couchman. but I'd probably prefer him over Leo. I think Howe over Leo, I would much rather. And yeah. Now let's get on to where people are trading, the trades ins and the trades out. This is the fun part. See where people are going. Trading out, Kalen Ponga. Makes sense. He's out for 6 weeks at least, I think. So, yeah, he's got to go. Tino. I think he's probably a must-sell, to be honest. 127 break-even. He just doesn't have the minutes that we thought he was going to get. The minutes this year, 49 to 46. Now, after his 49-minute game against the Sharks, he got 44 points. And I thought that was just because, Sharks had the game wrapped up and they were just kind of spelling Tino. They didn't want to waste him this early on in the season. But against the Dolphins, they were in that game most of the time, pretty much right up until the end. And for him to only play 46 minutes, I think for me that is, that's just what they plan on playing Tino. I think that's the plan going forward. I don't think he's a big minute player anymore, or at least for now, for this season. There certainly seems to be an intention to play him, a lot lower minutes. So, I'd be getting off him if I was on him. It's disappointing because you obviously expected him at 687k to be impressive, but look, you've got great options to go to. I think that's the beauty this year. If you have missed the mark on some of these players, if you have gotten a gun in that hasn't performed, there's so many cheapies to go down to that just makes that so much easier. Reed Marnie, it was always a concern with Reed Marnie what the minutes would be with Sonny Luke on the bench. 56 minutes. That's poor. Sonny Luke came on, he played terribly as well and got 20, but he still played 25 minutes. That's something that I hope. Well, I don't think it can continue. Like, he was awful, Sonny Luke, but who knows? Who knows what Todd Payton's thinking? But at the end of the day, the first game there was outside backs that got subbed in. So Derby got subbed in because there was injuries. So that's why Sonny Luke didn't get on the field, and therefore Marnie played 80. But the one game that there was no injuries, that everything kind of went, it seems like the plan was to not let Marnie play 80. So, I think if you've got him, especially if you've got him as your starting hooker, if you've got him on the bench, you could probably hold off the trade this week and just reassess, give it another week, just see if that's definitely the plan going forward. They've got the Titans this week, the Cowboys, so there's every chance that Marty can kind of get a cheeky attacking stat somewhere, and a nice little try assist or something like that. But if you've got him as your starting hooker, I would not feel comfortable playing him in my starting team. So I think he's someone that you can go straight up to Grant if you can afford that. And I think you can afford that with all the cheapies. You should be able to find a way. Thomas Flegler, picked up a little injury, which is disappointing if you started with Flegler. I think he's right to go. He's been named this week, but he had to go off the field after 22 minutes and didn't come back on. So that would stunt any kind of price rising from him. So, and again, there's just so many options. You go him to Howe pretty easily and free up 100k. So, Sammy Walker, I'm not too sure about this one. This one I don't like. Yes, he's got the Panthers this week. Yes, he probably won't score that well. And he's got 110 break even. So he's going to lose a little bit of money. But again, you're making so much money from all these other cheapies. You don't need every player to make money. You pick Sam Walker because of, you thought he was going to be good. He was so impressive in the trials, especially that game against Parramatta. Like, he looked outstanding. So people jumped on expecting him, and I think there's every reason he can find that. He's had no attack in the first 2 games of the season, yet still scored 50 plus. Now that's a very un-Sam Walker. Normally, if he doesn't get any attack, he's scoring around 30, 35 points. So that to me is actually a really positive sign if you're a Sam Walker owner, because he's got that floor now that he never had. He's got that kind of security that if he can get those attacking stats, and he will, that upside is going to be huge. He's going to, he could rival a Cleary. This is what Cleary bases, So, yeah, I see enough from Walker. I see enough from that floor to feel actually really confident keeping him. Again, yes, he's got the Panthers this week, but then he's got Manly the week after. Like, he could score 150 against Manly. So then he's got the bye after that in round 5. So maybe that's somewhere if he does poorly this week, and against Manly, if he does poorly that week, then maybe sure, round 5 you can look at selling him. But look, you've given him 2 weeks and he's scored 50 in both without any attack. I think you've got to be pretty happy with that. I mean, look, if you can go Walker to Cleary, I think that's still an upgrade. It's still a positive, but yeah, what's Walker doing and what's Cleary doing that you weren't expecting? Like, we know Cleary's the best half in the game. We know he's one of the best Supercoach options in the game. I don't know. Maybe it's just people freeing up money, and now they've got the money that they can do a Walker to Cleary. Maybe they wanted to start with Cleary, but they couldn't because they didn't have the money to, and now they do. So if that's your reasoning, then, sure, I can get around that for sure. But yeah, if you were keen on Walker because you wanted Walker and that's why you picked him, and nothing's changed for me to suggest that the reasons that you were keen on him are any less now. So Scotty Drinkwater, I think that's fine. I think that's a sell. I would be selling him if I had Drinkwater. 171 break even. Look, he's got the Titans this week, but again, while he's still carrying that rib injury, I don't like it. I don't like players carrying rib injuries because their output is less. Like, they're not... It's such a painful injury. Like, you can't be going into tackles as hard. You can't be... Yeah, it's just... It's quite restrictive from what I can tell. I've never had the injury, but from what people have said that have had it, it's quite a restrictive injury, and he's not goal kicking, so that's a big loss. So yeah, I'd be happy to part ways with Drinkwater. Selwyn Cobbo, I'd be pretty happy to sell him, to be honest. Again, we spoke about there's so many good options. He's 524k, 54 and 37. He's just not... Yeah, hasn't quite done what I guess you're expecting him to do, especially last week against the Gold Coast. You would have liked a lot more from him there. Break even 74. It's not massive. He can certainly hit that. Look, I guess it depends. Like, were you confident? Like, did you pick him at the start of the year and you were really confident about him? Because then I'd hold him, to be honest, because there hasn't been enough for me to suggest, I guess, that the reasons that you picked him are now wrong. But if you kind of just picked him on a little bit of a hope more than anything, then yeah, you might be time to kind of look for someone better that's got the runs on the board, so to speak. Isaiah Yeo, yeah, look, he's someone that I can certainly see myself selling. I wouldn't be selling him for any other reason other than to bring people in, right? I think that's why people are selling him, not so much because he's an urgent sell, because he's not. He's doing fine. He's scoring 60. He's priced at about 60. He's not going to lose any money. He's not going to make much, but he's a solid enough option. It's not like he's scoring terribly. It's not like he's injured. But, yeah, you're getting players that are 250k that are doing the same as what he's doing, probably more, with more attack. So, yeah. Angus Crichton, probably in the same boat, very similar price to Isaiah Yeo. I don't think he's a must sell. He's not an urgent sell. But again, if you're looking to get to one of these cheap options, and you don't have any other options, you're happy with. You might have all your other cheapies in your second row. You might have someone like a Lukey, like myself, that you just can't get rid of them, and he's your only down. I can definitely get around that. But I don't think Angus on his own is a sell. I think if you had Angus and you... Look, if I sell him this week, it's not because I want to sell Angus. It's because I want Martin, or because I want Lasardi, or because I want Couchman. That's why I'm selling Crichton. Toby Couchman, I probably would sell Couchman. Again, he picked up that little bit of an injury, so played lesser minutes. And I think that continues. Like all the doubts about that I have about Ryan Couchman is also relevant to Toby Couchman, because I think he gets a lot less minutes coming forward with little back, with, you know, a bench rotation that is normal without outside backs going onto the field. Like, I think his 66 minutes from round one probably goes back to a 55 minutes in a normal rotation, which, you know, pushes him from a 72 to maybe a 60, 65, and therefore his price at 588, and he's probably going to offer you similar. So there's not much value there. All right, trading in Suafalonger is the most traded in player by a fair distance, and yeah, look, we spoke about him. I think he's a trade in. Temper your expectations. Harry Grant, I think, if you've got someone like a Marnie, get him in. There was also actually, with team list, Reece Robson is back for the Roosters, so I forget his name, but the young hooker there for the Roosters, he's dropped out of the team, I think, completely. So if you've got him, look, if you can go from him straight up to Grant, then fantastic. That's a great play, but I don't think many people would have that much money to do that. Maybe they do, but Brian Couchman, we spoke about him. I think he's a good buy, but there are concerns. There are, I guess, little red flags with him to consider. But look, if you're keen on him and you want to get him, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I think it's still a good trade. I don't know if I'm doing it, but yeah, I still think it's a good trade, either or. Lasardi, I think, is a great trade. If you don't have him, I think he's definitely up there with one of the best buys this week, along with Noah Martin. He is just, Noah Martin is the one that I would say if you need to get him in your team. Because he has that potential to be a genuine keeper at 250k. Like, I would happily play him every week the way he's been going, as long as he scores, obviously, keep up. And the minutes are at 80 minutes. Like, there's no reason not to play him. Nathan Cleary, spoke about him. I think he's a great play, good option. He's, a gun half in a gun team. Like, he's going to score points. He's goal kicking. He's doing everything. He's got the high floor, the high ceiling. Best player in SuperCoach for the last, or one of the best SuperCoach players in the last probably 10 years. He's just going to keep doing his thing. Vinny Filiaki, spoke about him. I think he's a really, really good buy. If you can find a way to get him in, I would strongly try to do that. Tanner Boy, not an overly big fan of this one, but we spoke about that. Latrell, I don't know. If I didn't have Latrell, I'd be very, very, as tempting as it is to bring him in this week, you get up against the Tigers with that low break even of 0. I think I would wait till round 4 or round 5, because they've got the bye in round 4. And it depends, though, on how many South players you have. If you're someone that's got a Kulamantangi, you've got a Cody Walker, you've got a David Fafita, and you've got like a Brandon Smith, a Campbell Graham, some people have a Jai Gray. Like, if you've got kind of 4 South players already, I wouldn't be adding a 5th. And Tommy Chester. Yeah, I think he is a pretty good trade-in, as we spoke about. There are question marks maybe around his job security if Todd Payton wants to swing the axe, but yeah, I think he's definitely a fine play. He's got good floor. Yeah. Let me talk about my trade plans. So I've got Ponga this week. And yeah, he's got to go. First trade I'm going to make is Yo to Noah Martin. I think I'm going to lock that one in. So next trade, this is obviously, and the reason, I probably should have spoken about this earlier, the reason why bringing these cheap players are so important this week, because they are going to raise in money, and that's why we're talking about break-evens, because the ones with the lowest break-evens are going to make the most money, and this is the first week that they're going to do that. So, yeah. Ponga is got to go, and what I'm thinking, now I could go him to a Couchman, a Ryan Couchman that is, but I am very tempted to just bring in a gun, considering like where my rank is at the moment, and where I'm very happy with my team. I'm very happy with the cheapies I've got. I could really just put the foot on the throat here and just kind of bring in another gun and just kind of try and get in front early. Because I think a lot of people are going to just try and get their cheapies in this week. So if I kind of go the other way and say, I've got enough cheapies, I'm going to make my money, let's just go for points. And someone like a Kuraz, I am really, really looking at. Scored 99 in the first game at Vegas. Where is he? There he is. 746k. Leaves me 264 in the bank. I quite like that. I quite like the look of having Kuraz in my side. Then I've got Crichton and Kuraz. I don't know how I feel about having the centre and the wing on the same edge of the same team. It could definitely work. Like there's going to be times, like in Vegas, where Crichton throws the ball to Kuraz and they're both getting your points and you're thinking fantastic. But there may be games where the Bulldogs don't score many tries and then you're stuck with 2 disappointing scores. The thing with Kuraz, though, he's got such a high floor. He's got such a high work rate. He's going to offload. He's going to tackle break. So, yeah, I'm tempted with that one. The other option I could go for is where is he? Where is he? Fletcher Sharp I'm looking for. I should just search him, eh? That would be smarter. He's 730k. Now, what I'm thinking here with Fletcher Sharp is I bring him this week in my flex, and then next week I want Walsh. Because the reason I want Walsh, he's got 130 break-even this week. He's got the Storm, so I'm not expecting huge things this week. So he might lose a bit of money. Let's say he goes down 50k. So he's 770k next week. Then he's got the Dolphins. Then he's got the Titans. Then he's got North Queensland. Like those 3 Queensland teams, he could go 100, 100, 150. Then he's got the Tigers. He could score another 100 there. So that round, from round 4 to round 7, then it toughens up against. So maybe I even look at selling him in round 8. Maybe I sell him in round 8 and I pick up someone that's not going to play Origin, and I start planning for that Origin period. Ponga might be back by then, so I might even go Ponga. Ponga's not playing Origin, I don't think. I think they'll play Walsh. But, who knows? Ponga probably finds his way onto the bench for Queensland. But anyway, that's a future discussion. But, yeah, Walsh is someone I definitely want from next week. I could bring him this week, but I'd rather just wait because I don't love the idea of playing him against the Storm. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I could boost as well. I could boost and I could get Couchman. I could go Crichton to Couchman if I really wanted to, and then I could go Ponga up to a Carraz, up to a Fletcher Sharp. But I don't think I will. I don't think I need to. Because I am very happy with my team, and if I can, save a boost here, why not? It might come in handy later on. Yeah, that's it. Let's go through captaincy options. So there's Fafita. I might keep the captaincy on Fafita. There's Farlongo, who is up against Brisbane, who's been really leaky in defence, but I've just got a feeling that the Broncos are going to kind of be up for this one, and they're not going to. Obviously, grand final rematch. I think they're going to be a lot better defensively, is what they've shown so far. You go super safe. And Captain Haas, I think he's going to be in for a big game. I think they're going to play huge minutes for him. Cleary against the Roosters could be a shout. I don't love it, to be honest, but it's Cleary. He could score huge against anyone. They're probably the main. Someone like a Keeney up against the Cowboys could be a really good shout. No one will go on because Keeney scored pretty badly the first 2 weeks, but a couple of 50s in is essentially his floor. If he can get some try assists and some attack, which you would think is going to get against North Queensland. Yeah. Or Fafita up against the Tigers edge. You've got, Skelton, Luai. I think he'd be running at Luai, Kai Pierce-Paul, Skelton, and Taruva. That edge there isn't the most shored up defensively. So I may go Fafita as captain and then a vice captain on. Well, if I bring in Fletcher Sharp, I'll probably vice captain Fletcher Sharp. And if I bring in Carraz, I'll probably vice captain Carraz. So I think whoever I bring in for Ponga, I will vice captain. Yeah. Anyway, one thing is, before I go, let's touch on our league, our Rough Rigs league, because I'm still on top. I'm still on top with 2,880 points. Catch me if you can, and you probably can, I would say. But who knows? This might be my year. But well done to Emily, who's coming second, and Christopher in third place. So if you haven't joined, join. 630796 is the code. That code again. If you're listening on audio, 630796. Now if you win this, if you beat me and finish first, you'll win a jersey, a free NRL jersey. It doesn't cost you anything to enter this league, but you can get a jersey out of it. Yeah, NRL jersey, or any sport, I suppose. But yeah, an NRL jersey of your choice, as long as it's nothing ridiculous. But yeah, that's kind of it. All you got to do is win. So there you go. If you're interested, we've got 85 people in it at the moment, so you've got a good chance of winning. Not too much competition. We want to try and get that up to 100. And we'll be closing it fairly soon. So I think normally around 5 or 6 we might look at closing it. So jump in quick before that opportunity goes. So yeah, join the league 630796. Very, very good. Alrighty, that's all. Send through any questions you've got throughout the week. I'll be happy to answer them. Good luck with your head-to-heads. Good luck with your matchups. Hope your captain does well. And yeah, see you next week for a much better, much more polished episode, hopefully. See ya.